This is one of China's 3 unsolvable problems. Right now, there are 1 billion working-age Chinese people. In 2100, there will be about 0.3 to 0.4 billion. If nothing changes, I assume. But even a drop of a few hundred million will be catastrophic. And there is pretty much no escaping it. And it's coming, it's approaching them quickly. However strong China is now, they'll be weaker almost certainly in 10 years and in 20 years, and it'll keep getting worse. Unless and it'll be a big slump. They may be able to recover it after a couple of decades because they'll reverse the policy. But they're going to have less people working, more people depending. Which, by the way, that would be convenient, wouldn't it? If someone were to release a virus which specifically was dangerous to old people, that's an interesting idea. But,
weird.
I don't know why I bring that up.
What a bizarre idea.
Because the West has a much smaller version of this problem. It's not going to be much of a problem in the West. It's a decent-sized problem, but not huge. For China, it could be catastrophic. And I think this is probably mostly because of the one-child policy.
Yes.
So yeah, that's one of the 3 unsolvable problems.
That's why their population will inherently decrease. No, this is a prediction. I don't think it's actually going to work because the one-child policy has never worked. By the way, it's never produced the outcomes they wanted. It's always produced more than one child. Because what a ridiculous policy! You can't do this. Like, people have children, they do it no matter what. They figure out ways of having children. So I don't know how accurate this prediction is. This is on the one-child policy of China being as it is stated via the government. However, I don't think this is actually, and they didn't get to the place that they are, because they got to the place where they are via the one-child policy. Just pointing that out. So they got to this maximum population with a one-child policy. If you think it's going to suddenly go down, I think that's a little bit, it's not correct. That's not an accurate kind of position to take.
What do you mean? Because the current working age people will age out of the bracket, and then there'll be fewer in that bracket. It'll take 15 years from the point they implement the policy
doesn't change.
Yeah.
If the government policy doesn't change, there wouldn't be any reason for it to drop to this degree that it's predicted to be. Well, because they're still allowed to have multiple children. They're not allowed to technically, but they can do the exact same thing their parents did and have multiple children and then just kind of circumvent the government as they have been doing for the last 60 years.
Well, if that's the case, that would be...
That's how it got up to that point, by the way.
But that would be a reduction of the problem, but not a removal of the problem.
Maybe.
If they're limited on children, if they would have had more, but for the policy, but they had to be careful, then they're still having a lot less. And so at the point that those children are the majority of the workforce, the glut of people in the upper bracket, the above 64s, are going to be too dependent on them.
Perhaps. So I don't know then, but that's my estimation is that this is not a correct graph.
Okay.
I think that it's going to take more than 100 years for China to reach the rest of the West. I think the West is going to go way worse before then. I think things are going to get way worse. But I am a pessimist, so just my analysis.
As I said, the West does have a form of this problem, and I believe that either a pretense or maybe even a good faith reason, though that's less likely, for the immigration crisis was idiot politicians thinking that they could just bolster the numbers with foreigners. Now, it's a stupid idea, but they may either have been sold that stupid idea by evil people on that basis that it's a population crisis, or they may have honestly believed that was a good solution. The one-child policy for most of its existence affected about a third of the population. There was always many exceptions and reasons why a second was allowed if any limit applied at all. Not defending it, it just isn't as retarded as it sounds. Okay, understood. It's been a while since I saw a sort of documentary YouTube video on this problem. So I may be forgetting some of the details, but I do know that they have this population balance crisis. And they also have a couple of other crises. I believe they are the crumbling infrastructure, which was built to last 10 years, about 10 years ago, and water. They have way too little water for the number of people they have. And these three issues are pretty much unsolvable, or unsolvable within reason, and they may be one or more than one of them may be the things that kill China. Or Trump's tariffs.